Hello. Do you have nightmares or get knots in your stomach when you think about taxes or think about your business and taxes? Because today I'm going to actually talk about tax basics and the 4 steps that you need to take to be ready for tax season. It's coming up shortly, so we want to make sure that we are ready for that. So put any kind of comments or questions in the comments below, and I'll get to those and answer you as soon as I can. Again, my name is Jacob Curtis. I'm a CPA and a profit strategist for quilt shops. And like I said, taxes can be overwhelming, right? They are stressful, especially if you're not prepared for them. So when it's time to file federal income tax, your tax return for your quilt shop, there are quite a different number of ways that could happen depending on your situation, depending on whether you run your business as a sole proprietorship or set it up as an LLC or even a corporation. There's quite a few different options there. So we're going to step through the basics of those because each type of entity, each type of business requires a specific type of report. They're all not just the same. They all require a different tax form that you need to report your business income and expenses on. So, but regardless, you generally calculate your taxable business income in the same or similar ways. So the first step is to collect your records. So before you start filling out any tax forms or anything like that, you want to make sure you have your profit and loss statement and balance sheet ready to go. They are updated and you've got them in front of you and ready to go. You can do that. I recommend that you use a bookkeeping software tool like QuickBooks or Patriot software to keep everything organized and make sure you're good to go. You can use a spreadsheet and you can use other tools, things like that, to keep everything organized and keep track of stuff, because it's definitely difficult to figure it all out at your end. You're trying to find receipts and look through your e-commerce and POS systems, trying to remember who sold, what you sold and when, and things like that. So it's much easier to use a software tool than trying to remember everything in the moment when you need to do your taxes. So start today. The second step you need to do is you need to actually know what form to fill out, find the right form. And you always need to report your business earnings to the IRS and pay taxes on them. But choosing the right form to report your earnings depends on how your business is set up and how you operate it. So many quilt shop owners are probably a sole proprietorship, which allows them to report all of their business income and expenses on what's called a Schedule C that's attached to their personal income tax return, their personal return. But if you run your business as an LLC, and you're the sole owner, or I should say, if you run your business as an LLC and you're the only owner, the IRS is allowing you to still use that Schedule C attachment. It's the easiest way to do it. However, if you have elected to be a corporation or you are a corporation or something like that, then you're probably going to file either an 1120 or an 1120S, depending on if you're an S corporation or not. So again, Form 1120 is for C corporations and 1120S is for S corporations. And if you're not a sole proprietor, you have more than one owner in the business, or you've elected to be taxed differently, the fourth option really is the partnership tax return. And that is you use Form 1065 to file that return. Now, the unique things about an S corporation and a partnership is that they file their own tax return, but they don't pay their own taxes. They still flow through on your personal return. So keep that in mind as we go throughout, as we continue on. The third step is to really start filling out the forms, right? You have to, it's the law to report your business earnings each year, whether you want to or not. It's the law, and eventually, if you don't do it, you're going to get in trouble. The IRS is going to catch up to you and do it. So Schedule C is the simplest way to file the tax returns if you're allowed to do it as a sole proprietor. And it's because it's only 2 pages long, and it lists the majority of all the expenses you can claim. And when it's complete, and to complete it, it's really easy. You just subtract your expenses from your business income and you get your profit loss income, which should be very similar to your bookkeeping profit and loss income. It may be a little different because tax law is a little different than bookkeeping. And then you just transfer the number that you got on the Schedule C into the appropriate form and box onto your Form 1040, and you're done. However, if you can't use Schedule C, Then you're going to have to calculate your taxable business income you're going to calculate at the same time, the same way or very similar ways, but you're going to have to fill out an additional form like I was saying earlier. So a partnership, a C corporation, and an S corporation all file their own tax returns, but a C corporation actually pays its own taxes. And there's a little more detail involved in that. The schedules are a little longer. There's more things to be added to them. They require a little more detail about who owners are, what kind of business it is, that kind of thing. It requires some information from the balance sheet even. So you got to know what forms to use exactly. And to do that, you can actually read through the lines. Often the line on the actual form will tell you what other form or schedule you need to do. You can also find directions in the instructions. I mean, that's why there are instructions with these. Forms is each line has their own set of instructions on how to do it, how to calculate it, where to find the information, what other forms to attach if needed, things like that. So you can do that. You can do it on your own. I recommend that you that you pay for somebody to do it for you, or you use a software if you've got a simple business, but generally you always want to hire a tax preparer to prepare your taxes. The fourth step and the final step is really to pay attention to the deadlines. Know when your taxes are due. So generally, if you're a Schedule C person, you're a sole proprietor, your taxes are due when your personal taxes are due, which is generally April 15th. Of course, that's been adjusted for various reasons, falls on a weekend or a holiday or something like that. But generally, it's April 15th every year is when your taxes are due. And then if you're a C corporation, you need to file Form 1120, like I said, and you must file on the 15th day of the fourth month following the close of the tax year, which generally and typically for most taxpayers is going to be April 15th as well. However, you could have a non-calendar year, fiscal year. We probably don't, but it is an option. But generally, those are due April 15th. The other two options, S corporations and partnerships or LLCs, multi-member LLCs, those are due the third month after the end of the fiscal year or calendar year. So typically that's going to be March 15th, which is a whole month earlier than your personal one. And the reason for that is because those returns actually get passed through. You have to get what's called Schedule K1 to fill out and complete the tax return on your personal side. So most people don't know that is there's actually, they flow, you prepare an informational return is what I like to call them. Form 1065 and Form 1120S is just an information return for the IRS. And you also get a Schedule K1 out of filling those out. That's part of those additional forms and things that come out in schedules. And so you're going to get that and give that K1 to the owners. And it's like a W-2, and they use that to populate their personal income tax return on Form 1040. And that's why it's due a whole month earlier than everything else, because they don't pay, these two partnerships and S corps don't pay their own tax. The owners pay the tax, and it flows through from the business to the owner. So that's kind of a pretty basic steps and scenarios where we're at. So to get more information about tax preparation, or to have me prepare your taxes, go to curtisaccountingsolutions.com and click on the schedule a call button to set up a meeting with me, and we'll talk about your tax situation and what we can do for it. It's a 30-minute call, free of charge. So I want you to take advantage of that. And I'll talk to you later. Again, the basic steps are to really collect your information, make sure your records are up to date. You've got everything ready to go. And then the next step is to fill out your forms or have somebody or find the right forms. Steps 2 and 3, if you're going to have somebody else do it, they're going to know what forms to do. If you're going to do it yourself, you need to find the right forms. Step 3 is to fill out those forms, and step 4 is to pay attention to when the things are due. Typically, those are due either April or March, depending on your business. If you have any questions, let me know. For more helpful tips and tricks, go to curtisaccountingsolutions.com/blog, and you can get more awesome material content like this. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube to get the latest updates and to link back to the blog and things like that. Just search for Curtis Accounting Solutions and we'll be there. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.